This is the game we've all been waiting for. We know the RedBlacks and Argos will meet in 2 weeks' time, but where they'll play that Eastern semifinal is still TBD. That could be decided this afternoon, though, when the division foes face off. Since beating the Argos in Week 14, the RedBlacks have lost 4 in a row. They need a win today as they welcome back starting quarterback Drew Brown, who's missed the last 2 games with an ankle injury. While the Argos control their own destiny, and one thing's for sure, Chad Kelly loves playing Ottawa. He threw for a whopping 463 yards, a career high, when these teams met last month. And with that, welcome to the CFL on CTV, Week 20 and the first game of our doubleheader. I'm your host, Laura Dyken. We've got Paul LaPolice, Matt Dunnigan, as well as Milt Stegall. So this is what's on the line. A win for Toronto. They lock up second. They host that Eastern semifinal. A win by Ottawa, and all that will be decided next week. So really easy question here, Paul. What do these teams need to do to get the win today?
I think for the Argos, I think it's a missed opportunity. I know you talked about how great Chad Kelly was, but this guy, Kadeem Carey, he's got to get touches. Last game, he averaged almost 10 yards per carry. He's got to make sure they get him involved in the game plan because it's a missed opportunity. 4 interceptions last game, 2 pick sixes, 6 sacks for the Argos offense. I expect Kadeem Carey, Matt, to go against the 3rd-ranked defense of the RedBlacks against the run and make some plays.
Yeah, you got Kalen Layburn, the other guy toting the rock for the RedBlacks. And the RedBlacks, in my opinion, they need to get out of the way of themselves. Turnovers have been killing them. Penalties have been killing them. The most penalized team in the league, Milt. If they're going to have a chance of turning this around and collecting some important wins down the stretch, Milt, they're going to have to clean this up big time against the Argonauts, who've been playing clean football in their last 2 victories.
Argonauts defensively get after the quarterback better than anyone in the league. If these Ottawa RedBlacks can't protect Drew Brown, who hadn't played in almost a month, they won't have a chance. We saw what these Argonauts was able to do last week against Winnipeg, getting after Zach Collard, stopping Brady Oliveira. They're going to try to do the same thing. So these RedBlacks have to be able to protect Drew Brown.
Season-high 7 sacks for the Argos last week against the Bombers. This is Toronto's final home game of this regular season, but they're hoping they'll be back here in 2 weeks' time for that Eastern semifinal. We'll kick off this doubleheader Saturday in the CFL right after this.
Thank you, Laura. You couldn't ask for a better day here on the shores of Lake Ontario, BMO Field in Toronto, and what amounts to a playoff preview between the Ottawa RedBlacks and the Toronto Argonauts. They know they're meeting in 2 weeks' time. They just don't know where. So today could decide that. Ottawa, Dwayne, needs to be better than last Monday in Montreal. Their offense just racking up 4 field goals, really, but they got some good names back in the lineup from injury, including quarterback Drew Brown.
Yeah, and that obviously is going to be the biggest change to their lineup. Drew Brown, who helped get this team off to a terrific start this season, returns after missing the entirety of the last 2 games. There you see it, his first start since September 21st. That brings some confidence to the entire Ottawa offense. Looking to make life difficult for Drew Brown, the entire Toronto Argonauts defensive line led by one of the best 1-2 pass rushing punches in the Canadian Football League in Jake Seresna and Flora Narimawade, who've combined for 14 sacks this season.
Well, here's the scenario for Ryan Dinwiddie and the Argos. If they win today, they clinch second in the East. They will hope the RedBlacks 2 weeks from today in the playoffs for Bob Dice. Well, if the RedBlacks win, they won't wrap up home field, but it'll come down to the final week. They'll be at home against Hamilton. Toronto will be on the road in Edmonton. The Argos won the toss. They defer, so they will kick off. Liramira Loud to get it started. The playoff preview. And the RedBlacks have the ball. And on the return, a good one here for Khalil Pimpleton, who is drilled out of bounds by Isaac Darkangelo. And Pimpleton's all fired up as he gets ready to go on offense. And here comes Drew Brown.
You see Drew Brown's numbers on the season, above 500, over 3,000 yards on the year. His last complete game, a 349-yard passing performance against these Toronto Argonauts back on September 7th.
That was the last time the RedBlacks won a game. They've lost 4 in a row. This is Brown's first action in nearly a month. It's been a nagging ankle injury that actually goes back over 2 months against Saskatchewan. From the Ottawa 49 and a 1st and 10, Brown looking to the right, open receiver caught. Justin Hardy, another one of the big names, back in the lineup for Ottawa after missing last week's game against the Alouettes.
Yeah, love this. Max protect. Giving Drew Brown all the time in the world, not trying to disguise what they're doing at all. 7-man protection. Just giving Drew Brown a clean pocket, allowing the likes of Justin Hardy to get open.
Get it down to the Argo 36. Opening possession. Here in week 20, second meeting of the season between the RedBlacks and Argonauts. Brown to the right again. Open again, but no. A little bit behind the intended receiver, Braylon Addison. Another one back in the lineup after more than 2 months away because of injury.
And taking a look at this Ottawa lineup, Drake Centers checks in at left tackle. Jacob Ruby had started there last week. Centers coming off the injured list. And of course, big boost to this Ottawa offense to have a healthy Justin Hardy back in that receiving core, number 2 in the Canadian Football League in receiving yards this season.
Hardy wasn't there in Montreal, neither was Brown, when they put only 12 points on the board against the Alouettes. 2nd and 10. At the 36 and being hit as he throws it, it goes incomplete. Liramira Loud, who is really impressing with that Argo defense late in this season with another big play to force the offense off the field for Ottawa.
Yeah, and there you're going to see Liramira and Serezna, as they so often are, lined up together to the field side. That dip of the shoulder to bend the edge, get underneath the hands of the tackle, shortening his distance to the quarterback for the sack. Number 7 on the season for him.
Lewis Ward comes on, 52 of 59, just over 88% of field goal attempts made. This one heading right, it is missed, and it's picked up by Janarian Grant in the end zone. He is going to bring it out. Gets to the 10, 15, and he's pushed out close to the 20-yard line. So a return of 32 yards off that first attempt by Lewis Ward. So still no points on the board for Ottawa. And Chad Kelly on the field. The Argos scored only 14 points last week in Winnipeg, but still an impressive performance overall as they beat the Blue Bombers and moved into second place in the East.
Yeah, the defense getting a lot of credit for that victory. We talked about the efforts of Toronto's defensive line, but I thought it was a gritty performance for the offense, including Chad Kelly using his legs a lot in that one to extend plays, keep drives alive.
On the first down, handing off to Kadeem Carey. The running game, a big part of the Argo offense. We talk about the 3-headed monster, and that's the first head of it there in Kadeem Carey with the short gain.
Argo offense continues to miss Isaiah Cage at the left tackle spot. Ryan Hunter bumps out. That opens the left guard spot for Dylan Giffen to make the start. And how about Mackay Polk, the first-year player who has emerged as Toronto's leading receiver so far this season.
Coming in just 2 yards shy of 800 for the rookie, Mackay Polk. His first year at Mississippi State. It's a 2nd and 8 and a deep look. Down and caught. It is Mackay Polk. Still going. DeAndre Lamont finally hauls him down, but he gets all the way down in one play to the RedBlack 35. 52-yard pickup for the Argos.
And Chad Kelly is going to stand in, taking a shot as he puts that one up, but he knows the middle of the field is open, and that's where he's putting the ball, putting his faith in Mackay Polk to go get it.
So down to the 37, and that is completed again to Polk. Gets it down closer to the 30.
Yeah, big one on the previous play again with blitz coming. No safety deep in the middle. Mackay Polk takes that hole shot. Chad Kelly lays it up. Another big gainer for the Argos.
Another 6 yards for Polk after that big play to set up a 2nd and 4 now for Toronto on the move in their first possession. Kelly with time takes a deep look left, caught again down inside the 5. Demonte Coxey. Couple of big passing plays for the Argos as they've moved it all the way down to a 1st and goal as Kelly's trying to hurry him up.
Demonte Coxey, it's a well-earned reputation. He's one of the best contested catch receivers in the Canadian Football League. There you see in traffic.
They're right down to the 1. And in short yardage, out of the shotgun, Kelly fakes. He tries to take it into himself. We talked to Ryan Dinwiddie about their short yardage situation, which had issues against the Bombers in Winnipeg, Dwayne. And he had talked about how they might switch things up, spread out the offense, and run it like a normal play instead of short yardage.
Yeah, and often you get that spread offense in there. You can get people out of the box, basically, loosen things up a little bit, try and create a little room to run. But not that time as Damon Webb continues after picking off Chad Kelly a couple of times for pick sixes when the teams met in Ottawa last month. Coming up with the tackle there, continuing to be a little bit of a nemesis to the Argo quarterback.
So another old lineman, Landon Rice, comes in. Janarian Grant came in as well. 2nd down. Kelly calls his number again. No, down to the 1. 2 cracks at it by Kelly, and they're no further, still at the 1. And we have a 3rd and goal coming up again for the Toronto Argonauts. As mentioned, they had turned it over on downs against the Bombers last week.
They'll have far more trouble getting that final yard than they had covering the rest of the field. Big play team, but this has been one of their great challenges offensively.
So they substitute again with Rice coming off and Grant coming off, and Brissett comes on with Unger. So here we go. Still not a short yardage formation on 3rd and goal for Kelly. Handing off, Carey, touchdown. Kadeem Carey gets it. Push to a 3rd down and goal at the 1. The Argos finally break through, and they have the early lead.
Well, you heard Lapo talk about it in studio just before kickoff. Kadeem Carey is the guy who makes this offense go. Why not give him the ball in this situation? Carey, as he's done throughout this 2024 season, comes through for the Argo offense.
7 plays, 91 yards. The 7th rushing touchdown for Kadeem Carey in his first year with the Argos. His 8th touchdown overall. And Liram Hairolau, who's on with John Haggerty to put it down to make it a 7-point game. Up and through it goes. If the Argos can win this game, they will host the RedBlacks 2 weeks from today. It's a good start for Toronto. Big passing plays down the field, capped off with that 1-yard plunge. Kadeem Carey, 7-0 Toronto.
Well, quick start for the Toronto Argonauts offensively, making up yardage in big chunks, particularly that one. Kelly to Polk, then down the sidelines. The team's 2nd leading receiver, Demonte Coxey, in traffic. Ottawa holds tough for a while, but finally Kadeem Carey punches it in from the 1-yard line.
The RedBlacks had the first possession, got it down in scoring range, but a missed field goal brought out by the Argos, and they went right down and scored. It's Khalil Pimpleton, 35, and not much more than that. taken down. So Drew Brown, his first action in nearly a month, and back on now in a must-win game for the RedBlacks to maintain any hope of hosting a playoff game in 2 weeks. Great defensive performance by the Argos on the road last week in Winnipeg against a powerful offense led by Zach Collaros, and they were hurrying him, taking him down all sorts of times. 7 sacks in all for that defensive front for the Argonauts.
Yeah, everybody seemed to be getting in on the act for the Argos in that ball game. Absolutely dominant, using their full rotation. There you see their co-defensive coordinators, Kevin Iben and Will Fields.
From the 35 to Justin Hardy around the right, and picks up 6-7 yards on that first down play. Ottawa.
Up front, we've mentioned the veterans on that D-line. How about the young guy, Ralph Hawley, having a terrific freshman season in the Canadian Football League. Tunde Adeleke, fine off-season signing, taking over at that strong side nickel linebacker position. Mark Milton, after a lot of, I guess, experimentation, auditioning through various people at that boundary halfback spot, Mark Milton finally winning that job.
7 yards for Hardy, a 2nd and 3, and coming in, Tunde Adeleke on Braylon Addison, his old teammate in Hamilton, and takes him down for a loss. And it's a 2-and-out for the RedBlacks. They'll have to kick it away.
You'll see Adeleke sneaking up second level. He's watching Braylon Addison, who's in the backfield, follows him man coverage across that field. Good break for him coming downhill to the football.
Richie Leone standing back to punt it away for the first time today. So the Argos with the 7-0 lead. Janarian Grant loses that one in the sun, picks it up after a 60-yard punt by Leone. And the Argos pinned down deep at the 12-yard line for Brown. To Addison, going nowhere. Adeleke comes in. Another big defensive play for the Argos. The last time these two teams met in early September, it was a disaster for Chad Kelly and the Argos. 6 turnovers, including 2 interceptions for touchdowns in the first half by Damon Webb.
Yeah, rough start in that one for sure for the Toronto Argonauts. Ottawa defense was all over them. Big game, as you mentioned, for Webb. They settled down a little bit in the second half, but, you know, Ottawa was able to avoid giving up too much in the way of big plays, which, as you see, is a huge part of the Argos' MO offensively.
Kadeem Carey is the touchdown in this game with another good carry there on first down.
That Ottawa defensive line will be led, as usual, by Lorenzo Malden coming off the edge. Big boost, the linebacking core. As one of the defensive leaders, Javon Santos-Knox finally makes his return from injury, and there you see Damon Webb, the man who had 2 pick sixes against Chad Kelly.
2nd and 3, the 19, that is caught. Carey trying to get away and get a first down. He gets close. It's the weak side linebacker, Frankie Griffin, that had him. We'll wait for the spot here. Carey signaling a first down, but it might be just a few inches shy.
Yeah, it looks like they've spotted this one just short. Frankie Griffin doing a good job out in space to corral the Argo running back.
So again, short yardage, and this time in that formation. Kelly just needs to push it forward a couple of inches. Looks like he has, as the stick should be moving for the Argos. Yeah, that game in Ottawa 6 weeks ago, it was early and often for the RedBlacks. Took a 31-3 lead at halftime.
Chad Kelly continuing to handle short yardage duties here, both in the field and, as we saw earlier, goal line situation, able to avoid the airborne Javon Santos-Knox to pick up the first down that time.
Santos-Knox back in the lineup as well for the first time in a while for the RedBlacks. He's been hurt back against BC, so he's back in. Yeah, a number of names been missing for the last while, especially Brown and Santos-Knox. Adeboboye in, another one of those 3 running backs used a lot. And Darius Pickett, it was in Hamilton a month ago that Pickett suffered a season-ending Achilles injury. Of course, had a very good season with the Argos last year before signing on with Ottawa, and had kept it going with the RedBlacks, but his season is done. 2nd and 6, Kelly. Both to John Brissett, who fields his way through for another first down and more. Brissett getting it up across the Toronto 40. So the Argo offense, a lot of success moving the football so far in this game.
There you see Brissett, the inside receiver, to the wide side. He's going to have some space to just curl over the middle as the nickel linebacker turns out. Nice effort here after the catch. Secures the ball. Going airborne to pick up another Argonaut first down.
Up close to the 44 now for Toronto. Argo's up a touchdown. Handing off. That's Adamaboye. And he runs into a lot of red and black there. Michael Wakefield, the first one to get his hands on him. And Adamaboye is able to spin through and pick up a yard, maybe two for the Argos. Spot that up around the 45. So let's call it a yard in a 2nd and 9.
Well, Argos came out slinging the ball, now looking to run that rock a little bit. As mentioned off the top, we'll see Adamaboye and Deontay McMahon in there spelling Kadeem Carey at times, so they always have fresh legs.
5 passes, 8 rushes for the Argo offense so far. Another pass. That's another first down to cross midfield. It's DeMonte Coxie again. Another catch. He had a big one to lead to their opening touchdown the previous drive.
Coxie coming from the right side of your screen. That play just speaks to the confidence that Chad Kelly has in DeMonte Coxie to go up and win those balls in traffic.
Last week in Winnipeg, Coxie only had 1 catch for 6 yards. So far, he's got a couple. Kelly's throwing again to the right. Going up and bringing it down is David Unger with his first catch of the afternoon. Yet another first down for the Argos on the move.
David Unger, the solo receiver. Out to that side, pushes coverage off, come back to the sidelines. Nice route, nice finish by the second-year Argonaut.
Who had 2 catches for 20 yards and the only touchdown for the Argo offense in their 14-11 victory last week. Kelly again. Now it's DeMaris Daniels' turn to get involved in the act here in this Argo offense. Still now inside the 30, and it'll be a 2nd and short coming up.
Well, Argos continuing to have their way with the Ottawa defense through the air.
Inside the 25, down to about the 23. Impressive work by the Double Blues offense so far in this game.
And nice backfield action there with Kelly carrying out the fake. Put some pressure on the end, loosen things up on the inside for his running back, Kadeem Carey. Ottawa defensive coordinator Baron Miles looking to slow this train down a little bit.
Drive to the Ottawa 23, running again. It's Carey inside the 20. So Kadeem Carey getting a lot of business so far in this game early, and here come the Argos threatening again. They get it down to the 19 and a 2nd down.
This time it'll be Deontay McMahon coming on for Kadeem Carey. Had a good chat with Deontay McMahon this week as he talked about his love of the wide CFL field.
Yeah.
Likes to try to attack that perimeter, use his speed.
2nd and 6. Kelly flushed out. Still on his feet. It's going to take off. Kelly lunging forward too, and just enough for another first down. Last lunge, by the looks of things, would be enough. See where they spot him. Awfully close. He needed to get to about the 12 to the 13-yard line.
Yeah, Chad Kelly is a guy who loves to throw the deep ball as much as any quarterback in the Canadian Football League, so that becomes the part of his game that is most often discussed. Underrated is his athleticism.
Break the sticks out to be sure, but it is enough. Signaled by the referee, Andre Proulx. So another first down for Toronto, getting close again, already up a touchdown. decisively beat the Argos 6 weeks ago, but these two teams have gone in different directions since then. Ottawa's lost 4 straight games. Trying to get it back to the rails for the playoffs. Here's McMahon, 5, still on his feet, getting a push right near the goal line. Whistle blows. He was that close to spinning it and taking it in for the touchdown. He stopped just shy. And it looks like it could be enough for another first down. It is 1st and goal for the Argos now.
Going tempo here.
Short yardage again. Kelly. Does he push it up across? Yes, he does. Chad Kelly has a touchdown. They work quickly right after that play by McMahon to get them close. And there's no stopping the Argo offense so far in this game as the RedBlacks fall into a deeper hole.
And a little bit of tempo here, limiting Ottawa's opportunity to change any personnel, given the field position. Effective quarterback plunge right there for Kelly for the touchdown.
Kelly is 8 for 8 passing for 145 yards. Toronto's running the ball quite well as well. That was a 14-play, 98-yard drive. They had a long field to go. And that also took over 7 minutes off the clock. 7:18. Already we're down near quarter time. I'm allowed with the extra point. The Argos have had the ball most of the game so far. They have just 24 seconds to go. Long drive capped off with a Kelly touchdown. Argos looking to face these RedBlacks right here in 2 weeks' time. Good start, 14-0. Well, Kadeem Carey is the feature running back for Toronto, but he's certainly not the only one. He got the touchdown earlier, and then you've got Deontay McMahon, and don't forget about Dan Adeboboye. With more, let's head down to field level and join Matthew Jeanette.
Yeah, let's start with Daniel Adeboboye first, Rob, because there was an assumption after last season that Adeboboye would be the Argos starting running back. And then in February, Kadeem Carey signs, and we know that Deontay McMahon brought a bit of energy last season. And speaking to the Argos this week, he spoke to McMahon for it, as you said. But speaking to all of these running backs, they all said they complement each other so well. A well-balanced three-headed monster with Daniel Adeboboye's dependability, Kadeem Carey's off fearness and toughness. And then, of course, Deontay McMahon and the energy he brings. And inside that locker room, everyone wants to get a carry, of course, but pun intended, Kadeem Carey's the featured back. But when you see how well balanced they are, we're seeing it so far in this first quarter, there really is just an excitement about what these guys can do. And, well, the Argos offense sure looks pretty good right now, Rob.
Not even through a quarter, Matthew. They've all had touches. Here's a big return for Khalil Templeton. Finally pushed out of bounds, but excellent return to set up the RedBlacks. For Ryan Dinwiddie, though, we have seen good use on their offense. The last time they were here against Montreal, of all 3 of them making a contribution on the ground.
Yeah, 3 terrific players. Heard Matthew talk about slightly different skill sets for each of them, but you know, Ryan Dinwiddie, the coaching staff have done a pretty good job keeping all of these guys well fed, so to speak.
34-yard kickoff return by Khalil Templeton. So Ottawa starting at their own 54, down 14. Final play. Drew Brown knocked away. Defense got in. Ball's out. Wynton McManus has it. They're letting this play out. McManus has it inside the Ottawa 30. The Argos known for getting pressure on the quarterback, and they end the first quarter that way. With Brown, not enough time to get rid of the football.
I'm sure they'll take a look to see if there was any throwing motion there from Brown before the ball popped out, but it looks like for the time being, at least the ruling of fumble will stand.
Rule to fumble it is. For the second quarter would begin with the Argos already in scoring position. Defense dominant, offense dominant. Argos are ticking all the boxes right now. A 14-point lead through 15. Don't even look at the score. Look at the stats, and you can tell who's dominating this game. 14-0 lead Argos. Time of possession alone, and now they're leading in the turnover department too, Dwayne.
Yeah, just a dominant performance by the Toronto Argonauts. Ottawa came out and I thought moved the ball pretty well on their first possession. You didn't get the feeling that, you know, they were going to be flat, that they weren't going to be ready to play. I think the Argos have just stepped us up to a whole different level on it.
Argos have had 2 possessions. They both resulted in touchdowns. Long drives. The other one, the second one, 14 plays, over 7 minutes. And this is the most recent play. It is ruled a fumble. They force it out of Drew Brown, and Winton McManus has just been the star of that Argonaut defense. Comes up with the recovery too. He made some big plays last week in Winnipeg. Inside the 30 to start the second quarter. Already up 14. Kelly going to work again. End zone touchdown. Just like that. Dejan Brissett. And the Argos completely the opposite. This is a look for McManus. Completely the opposite of the last time they faced the RedBlacks when it was Ottawa dominating early.
The quick strike after the turnover. Argos going over the top. Brissett working to the corner, splitting 2 defenders. Kelly puts it on the money.
3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, and that's just a 1-play drive. It's all they needed after the turnover. Kelly to Brissett for his second touchdown of an abbreviated season for him. Went on the 6th game after getting hurt in week 1. And the point after again by Hyra Lahu. So complete dominance right now for the home side, looking to be the home side in the playoff game in 2 weeks' time.
Come on now. I'm talking about, man. That's the business I'm talking about.
You see Brissett to the right side of the screen. Got Bennett Williams to bite on that inside fake, creating a little bit of separation as he turns it out to the corner. Williams chasing from the inside. Corner Elijah McGee trying to close from the perimeter, but neither one able to get there.
It's a different story for the RedBlacks compared to Thanksgiving Monday, where they did lose to the Alouettes in a closer game, but it was their own discipline that got in their way. All the penalties they took against Montreal, costly penalties as well. This time,
we doing it for the kids, man.
their defense just can't get off the field. And for Bob Dice, bottom line, in a game they have to win in order to host a playoff game, they're now in a 21-point hole.
Certainly, win or lose, clearly not the message the Ottawa RedBlacks are looking to send, knowing that these 2 teams are going to meet. 2 short weeks in the East Division semifinal.
They have both spoken about how important home field is for the playoff game. As Hyra Lahu squibs that one. Oh, it goes over Pimpleton. Heads towards the Ottawa end zone, and he finally corrals it. Not able to get much going across the 15, so that squib working out. Everything's working out for Toronto so far. And for Bob Dice and Ryan Dinwiddie both, I mean, they weren't shy about it. Home field does matter, and you can see why, Dwayne, when you look at what's happened so far in the regular season.
Yeah, both teams drastically different records at home versus on the road, especially for Ottawa, league best 6-1-1 at home, struggling miserably on the road this season, but Argos demonstrating in the early going here that they really want to play that East Semi here at BMO.
Trying to get something for one carry for Kalen Leyburn, and he's going nowhere. The Red-Black running back wrapped up there by Ralph Hawley and taken down for no gain.
As you see the difference in Ottawa's numbers between home and road, I asked their head coach Bob Dice this week about how do you go about making road games feel more like home games, and he says they've worked on that a little bit in terms of trying to allow the players more free time on game day to kind of do whatever their routine would be at home. But the biggest issue, he feels, isn't so much with the pregame preparation, but simply execution. hasn't been there when they've needed it on the road.
Passing down, 2nd and 10. And over the middle, Dominic Ryan. A short pass. Ryan is taken down after just a few more yards. And that's it. 2 and out. Argo defense standing strong again. Richie Leone will come on with the punting unit to give the ball back to the Argos, who've had it most of the way in this game so far.
And this Argo defensive line, which has been such a story in recent weeks. You know, very good against Montreal a couple weeks ago. Obviously the big win, which they were dominant against Winnipeg last week. They can just pin their ears back now.
In the hands of Gennarian Grant, the 44-yard. He turns back. He gets taken a good special by James Peter to get him back inside the 40. But it's been all Kelly and the Argos so far, 2nd quarter. Rod Smith, Wayne Ford, Matthew Shinetti here on CTV watching the Argos leading 21-0 over the Ottawa RedBlacks here in the 2nd quarter. Daniels with the ball. He gets a good pickup. It'll be a 2nd and short coming up again for Toronto.
Yeah, Argos have done it primarily with the long ball through the first 18 minutes of this ball game. They're just going with the quick hitter, get the ball in the hands of Tavares Daniels. Nicely executed, as that was one of the plays that actually got intercepted by Damon Webb in Ottawa last month.
Kelly, short yardage. He's 10 for 10 passing, by the way, but what a different story, Dwayne. You were there that day in early September after 2 pick sixes by Damon Webb. 31-3 Ottawa at the half in that game at TD Place. But just a different story now, 21-0, and the Argos in control so far in this game.
Yeah, and you have to bear in mind as the Argos seem to be finding their way down the stretch. Not totally unexpected. Chad Kelly, the league's MOP last year, but missed the first half of the season. Didn't have a training camp. Took him a little while to get in sync.
Kadeem Carey with the ball, and Cleon Lang is in wrapped up after a couple more yards. You look at Kelly compared to other Argo quarterbacks, first 24 games. Of course, Doug Flutie in that 96-97 run, back-to-back Grey Cup titles, the 2-15-3 seasons, and the standard bearer of that club.
4-2, 4-2. Hey, Leo.
2nd and 7. Kelly, chasing him. So is Michael Wakefield. He takes off and he slides and he gets the first down. Sticks move. Argos offense just keeps moving.
Yeah, good decision making here for Kelly as he gets flushed out of the pocket, not trying to force anything he sees. There's some green grass in front of him, enough to move the sticks. Takes that and lives to fight another series.
Get the ball down to the Ottawa 48. Action big, open receiver, Mackay Polk, touchdown number 4 for the Argos. Every time they get the ball, they just keep adding to their lead.
Argos show run here, getting the linebackers coming downhill towards the line of scrimmage. That half step. Looking at run support from D. Webb in the halfback spot is just enough for Mackay Polk to be past him. Again, middle of the field's open for a big play.
Harala with his 4th extra point on 4 Toronto touchdowns, as Ottawa's defense has been just under siege so far in this game. Mackay Polk, the rookie, is the latest to take it in. It is 28-0 Argos, 2nd quarter. Mackay Polk, the latest to celebrate an Argo touchdown.
Yeah. Such an exciting play. We both want to talk about it. Mackay Polk gets in behind coverage for the 4th Toronto Argonaut touchdown of this ball game. The first half beatdown is on as the Argos are delivering a little bit of payback.
Come on, man. And my mama
touchdown number 5 in the season for Mackay Polk, who's well over 800 yards now, came in just 2 yards shy. He is a touchdown. Dejan Brissett does. Chad Kelly on the ground, the first one to get it started. Kadeen Carey. So 4 touchdowns on 4 Argo possessions. Will Pimplin has been busiest today returning kickoffs for the 5th time now, but another look at the touchdown for Toronto, Dwayne.
Yeah, Mackay Polk is the number 2 receiver towards the top of your screen. What you're going to see is the safety is shading towards the field. Short route is going to hold the corner down. So it's on Damon Webb to be in coverage. He comes up towards the line of scrimmage. I think anticipating run, quite frankly. And it ends up not being that. And Polk takes the opportunity to get in behind him as the defender's up in that aggressive run deep posture. Kelly lays it up.
And up near a first down, gets it close. The RedBlacks to this point have only got 1 first down. That was on their first possession. The Argos, by contrast, have 15.
And again, think back to that first possession, which seems like a lifetime ago. Quite frankly, the way the Argos have dominated the time of possession since then. But Drew Brown looked very comfortable. Receivers were getting open. Ottawa looked like they were moving the ball very well, but just kind of hit a wall in terms of momentum. Offense left standing on the sidelines for an extended period as the Argos had some nice drives in that first quarter. There hasn't been much opportunity for Drew Brown to get back in rhythm.
So after they get just their 2nd first down of this game, and yeah, they moved down enough to try a field goal, and it was a Lewis Ward net. So Ward trying to screen it back here to Braylon Addison, back in the lineup for the first time in over a couple of months, and he gets it across midfield on that first down play. 2nd down and about 4 coming up for Ottawa.
Yeah, Addison coming right to left on your screen. Screen pass, nice play by Benji Franklin here to beat the block, get into the legs of the Ottawa receiver.
The RedBlacks trying to settle down, trying to keep the offense on the field and spell off the defense a little bit, which is got a lot of playing time in this first half. 4-man Robert Brown. 2nd down, and it is caught. Little argument here, but they are saying, deliberating, that it is not a catch, that it's out of bounds for Jalen Ackman.
Yeah, pretty good throw here from Drew
Ruling
Brown.
on the field is an incomplete pass.
I think Ackman may have a case here.
Watch the toe, the left toe, right?
Yeah, I thought he managed to keep that dragging toe in bounds as he pulled the ball in.
Let's have another look here. Well, moot point now, not challenged. It is punted. And it's in the hands of Janarian Grant after a 46-yarder. More good coverage by James Peter on Janarian Grant. Well, the Argos faced with a long field again. The last time they drove all the way down and picked up a touchdown. Chad Kelly's line so far, 11 for 11 for 231 yards and a couple of touchdown passes. Let's go back to Matthew.
Yeah, we talk about the stats, and clearly Chad Kelly's having a great game in this first half so far. But emotionally, where he is at this crucial time of the season, I was speaking to Whit McManus before the game, and he spoke about a chat that he had with Chad Kelly just a few short days ago, telling Kelly, listen, just take care of the football, manage the game. We can take care of everything else. The game is not on you. And really, maybe it goes back to something Florian Arumalade said when Kelly came back from his suspension. Just be consistent. If you are consistent, then we know you can't be great. Look at that stat line. It's clearly Kelly consistent, Kelly great.
And Matthew, they go back to the ground to start this possession. Deontay McMahon picks up a couple of yards. And we have seen, despite all the success throwing the football right now, as mentioned, how successful they can be running it too. South Florida, Remalade, and tell you the Wynn McMahon, certainly stars in that Argo defense too, getting a rep. Offense on. McMahon has it. And he picks up that yardage after the catch, which is just not quite. It's a little bit shy of a first down net. A foot away.
A guy who can be so effective out of the backfield.
Fire, fire, fire. Rebel right hearts. Fire. Rebel right hearts. Rebel right, rebel right, rebel right, rebel right.
So up 4 touchdowns. Kelly keeps it on 3rd and inches. Needed to get to the 20 and a little bit past that. But yeah, even on a 3rd down inside their 20 and up 4 touchdowns, they're going for it. And they do get the first down as a reward.
Well, when you think about the strength of the Argos run game, their ability to keep throwing fresh sets of legs at you from that backfield, yeah, for them, they want to manage and control this time of possession here in the first half, anticipating that it'll pay dividends for them in terms of protecting the lead as this game goes forward.
Despite the success through the air with big plays, they have still run the ball a lot more often. This time, it's a flea flicker. Wide open, but this time Mackay Hope could not track it down, and Kelly laments his first incompletion of the afternoon, and it was that close to leading to yet another Argo touchdown.
And it looks as though as this one's in the air, you see the handoff to McMahon. He flips it back to Kelly. And you can see the Ottawa defenders scrambling, trying to get back in coverage as once again they get sucked in by the run. It looked like Polk just lost sight of it for a second early on, slowed down a little bit and wasn't able to recover and catch up.
I was on a 1st and 10, and you think the Argos offensively are going to get a little more conservative up 4 scores. Think again, trying the flea flicker. It nearly worked, but no. 2nd and 10, Kelly throws it, and it's incomplete. And we're about to see something we haven't seen this afternoon yet, and that is the punter John Haggerty come on for Toronto. 5 minutes to go until halftime.
Ottawa dodged a bullet on 1st down because they were beaten on the flea flicker as receivers were in behind their coverage, but able to force a big stop here. An opportunity to have decent field position to start this possession.
There's Haggerty, the Aussie, 2nd in net punting average in the CFL, and Khalil Pimpleton, who's had 5 kickoff returns so far in this game, is about to track down his first punt. From Haggerty, and it hops and it hits Pimpleton, and he gets that at the 35, tries to get away, but he cannot. Kenneth George has it wrapped up. So Ottawa football, under 5 minutes to go, 4.5 minutes now, and ticking for Bob Dyson, the RedBlacks. Still no points to show for it. Only managed 4 field goals in Montreal on Thanksgiving Monday. Now in a serious hole against the Toronto Argonauts. Running is Kalen Leyburn. And Leyburn carrying for just the 2nd time. The previous carry netted nothing. He gets about 2 yards that time.
Yeah, part of the deal for Ottawa, especially with a lot of time left in the football game, so many ways to score in Canadian football. 28 points and a half, certainly not insurmountable, but you get behind by 28. You see the disparity in net offensive yards at the bottom of the screen. But at this point in the game, they can't go all pass. Not against this Toronto D-line. They got to run the ball to keep them honest. That's why they did it.
Well, they tried. Actually got 3 in the 2nd down, and that's caught. First down. Addison across midfield, and he takes a late push. But they venture into the Argo zone, and that catch by Addison.
Yeah, Addison, yet another veteran, making his return to the Ottawa lineup this week. Another one of those security blanket types for quarterback Drew Brown.
Sean Blackburn.
Might have gotten away with one there, as it looked like Addison was out of bounds when contact was made.
Just inside the Argo 50 now. 1st and 10. Brown, lots of time, airs it out, down the left. Oh, the catch by Marco Dubois. Seldom used member of the RedBlacks with their biggest offensive play so far, a gain of 26 yards. Just the 2nd catch of the season for Dubois.
Yeah, misdirection play here works in a big way for Ottawa.
Certainly help his average too. His other catch went for 27 yards. That one even more. RedBlacks finally in business.
Chad Kelly and that Argos offense putting on a show in the first half. We can't forget about the defense either. All Argos all the time, but those RedBlacks driving. They need to put some points on the board, and we need to get you back to Toronto where we find Rod and Dwayne.
All right, Laura, you and the panel coming up. Interested to hear your thoughts on this one so far and what the Argos have done in dominating the RedBlacks. Halftime getting closer. Under 3 minutes to go. Ottawa, chance to score some points now. 4-man rush. Brown. And that is caught. Dominic Rhymes has the catch. Gets it down a little bit closer. Another first down for the RedBlacks. Inside the 10 and a 1st and goal coming up Ottawa.
But going back to the point I was making about the way Ottawa started this game, they don't seem like they're having a problem getting receivers open. You know, you look at their game plan versus Toronto, I think an effective offensive game plan, but just a limited opportunity for them to find any kind of rhythm in the first half of this game because Toronto's had the ball so much.
8th play of the drive now for Ottawa. Brown lead for 11. Low snap. He's got it. He looks into the end zone. Touchdown. Braylon Addison. First game back in a while. And did Ottawa ever need that late in this first half? Finally getting their first points in this game on the board.
Once again, you're going to see good protection. Drew Brown's getting time. Addison working all the way across the formation, right to left. Into that corner, well-thrown ball. So I think Drew Brown has looked pretty sharp throwing the football in his return after being on the sidelines the last couple of games.
This drive down for the touchdown. High snap. And no, blocked. High snap for Richie Leone, and Ward's kick gets blocked. So they do get the touchdown. See a flag out now, right around the line of scrimmage.
I wonder if Benji Franklin might have been off the mark a little too quickly.
Well, Ward stays out. The
no yards since the ball crossed the line of scrimmage, and it was touched by Toronto with players from Ottawa in the 5-yard zone. This is a 5-yard penalty.
As explained by Andre Cruz. So it is no extra point, just 6 on the board instead of 7 for Ottawa, and the Argos will have the ball.
And there you see Drew Brown. Finally got Ottawa on the scoreboard here. A few nice tosses from Brown on that drive. Touchdown being the second of a couple of biggies to Braylon Addison.
Well, I said, you know, with Brown, if you didn't know the score and you just saw his stat line, a 9 for 12 for 113 and a touchdown pass, no interceptions, you'd be thinking not bad. The thing is, Brown in that offense has not been on the field nearly as much as the Argos offense has in this half. The time of possession difference, 17:48 for Toronto to 9:35. It's about a 2-to-1 ratio for the Argos.
Yeah, and the biggest blemish for Ottawa offensively really has been a fumble in their own territory as Brown got sacked. That led to one of those Argo touchdowns after getting the ball with a short field.
For his high percentage of kicks, Lewis Ward, he did have one blocked last week in Montreal. He had 2 blocked in a game against Saskatchewan back in August, and that extra point blocked as well. 28-6. Marion with it around the 45 for Toronto. Well, the NS away from playoff time. We know we'll see these two teams in the Eastern semifinal. And so far, the Argos are trying to make it a definitive answer as to where that game will be played. As it stands right now, if the Argos go on to win, they'll be right back here at BMO. 2 weeks exactly for the East semifinal on CTV. Carry by Kadeen Carey. Near midfield, back to the ground on that first down play to set up another second and short for the Argos. An injured player down. It's like Lorenzo Malden. Looks to be favoring his right arm, lying down, getting attention now from the RedBlacks training staff.
And Malden made a diving attempt at the tackle. Looks like he may have got his arm caught up in the legs of running back Kadeen Carey. It's Malden coming off the edge just outside left tackle Ryan Hunter. He's going to crash down here. You saw him reach me with a bit of contact coming from some big bodies coming the other way here. You'll see him dive into the legs. Tough to say, but with Bryce Carter already out of the lineup.
A big part of that RedBlack defense. Defensive Player of the Year in the CFL 2 years ago when he led the league with 17 sacks. And still getting attention. We talk about the playoff scenarios in the East. Montreal has clinched first. They had already a few weeks ago, and home field for the Eastern final against either the Argos or RedBlacks, as today they're sorting out, or could be sorting out, who gets home field. If the Argos do win it, they will finish second. But it's been that close, and as said, ever since Ottawa beat Toronto badly 6 weeks ago, things have really turned around. The Argos have been the better team.
Yeah, it's trending in opposite directions of late. Again, Ottawa without Drew Brown in that time. See it finally sort of succumbed to what had been a nagging injury.
Second and inches. Kelly. May not get it there. That was second down, and he didn't need much. Didn't get much at all. But just needed to get to midfield, and given where they put it down, it is enough for a first down, Toronto. This reached it over.
Argos' short yardage team isn't quite a given yet, but moving the sticks on this one.
On first and 10, pressure on Kelly. Deep ball. Open receiver again, Daniels, just beyond his outstretched hands there. It's really had another big play through the air for Toronto. Second down.
And Davaris Daniels working from the slot here. Turns it north-south when he sees his quarterback rolling his way. Another near miss for the Argos, who have had a number of big plays already in this ballgame.
3 straight incompletions now for Kelly after starting on fire. Second and 10. He has time, but he runs out of it. Aiden John comes on for the injured Lorenzo Malden, and Aiden John has a sack. First one to get to Chad Kelly on the afternoon to force the Argos to punt it away, and another good stand now by Ottawa's defense.
And Aiden John, defensive end at the bottom of your screen. Second-year man out of St. Mary's. Just keeps his motor running to get the ball, get to the quarterback.
So Haggerty to punt it. We saw the last time the RedBlacks had the ball, they were able to move it right down the field, get the touchdown. 1.5 minutes to go as Haggerty lets some time run off the clock. That play clock right down to 2 seconds. Haggerty gets rid of it. Sails out of bounds. So good place for the RedBlacks to start before halftime. And when we do have halftime, Laura Dykin with Milt Stiegel and Matt Dunnigan and Paul Lapalisse talk about this game. There's a game later on TSN, and that'll be the Montreal Alouettes taking on their old quarterback, Vernon Adams, getting the start for the BC Lions today in Vancouver. No bearing in the standings, Dwayne, but curious to see especially how BC does today after not looking good at all in Saskatchewan last week.
Yeah, much like Ottawa, they're a team that knows they are playoff bound. They just want to get the ship pointed in the right direction before the postseason begins.
Ottawa ball, 1:16 on the clock. Trying to get back in this game. Pressure! Down he goes! Coming in is Robbie Smith to take Drew Brown down in a 2nd and long. Coming up for the Ottawa RedBlacks on the 6th sack of the season by Robbie Smith.
Yeah, Robbie Smith, right side of that defensive line, end into the boundary. Just takes a page out of Flo Rivalade's book there with that inside shoulder dip and rip. Wilfred Laurier product added to his sack.
2nd and 18. Throwing underneath the Pimpleman. And not nearly enough for a first down, though. It will be a 2 and out for the RedBlacks. 47 seconds to go. Robbie Smith coming off the field. Talk about that Argo defensive line. Wayne went through a lot of change in the offseason, but he and Remalade, two of the staples, still around as they were last year.
Yeah, both starting ends are back. Changes at the D tackle spot. Of course, they lost Brandon Barlow from that D end rotation. Dwayne Hendricks on the inside. Released Sean Oakman after their first game of the season. But obviously dealing from a position of strength after some of the offseason additions.
So Leone to punt late in the half, under a half minute to go. Argos will get the ball to Marion Grant, 25. Slips, a 53-yard punt, and ends up around the 27. 15 seconds to go. In a half that, for the most part, has been sheer dominance by the Toronto Argonauts. Scoring touchdowns on their first 4 possessions for a 28-0 lead before the RedBlacks finally got on the board.
An aggressive start for the Toronto Argonauts in this one. You look at their offensive play calling and not letting their foot off the gas in that way at all.
Well, they have that big lead and consider. Now they're just taking the formation to kill the rest of the clock till halftime, but they had a flea flicker try that nearly worked. They were deep in their own zone on 3rd down, albeit just for inches, but they went for it there. So you're right, not taking the foot off the gas.
I half expect to see them fake the kneel down and air one out here the way the first half has gone.
You never know. Playoff game at home is at stake, and so far the Argos making a very good case for hosting Ottawa again in 2 weeks' time. Chad Kelly, especially, Dwayne, the way he started with that offense staying on the field for much of this first half.
Yeah, and we've talked about Chad Kelly finding his way at the right time of the season. We know he's a guy who isn't shy about throwing the long ball, and he's been very effective doing it here in the first half of this ball game. Number of big plays staking the Argos to a big lead.
Chad Kelly, 12 of 15 for 238 and a couple of touchdown passes, no picks, and he is standing by now with Matthew.
Chad, I see you telling your players to keep it going. Where's the confidence level of this offense right now?
Yeah, we just got to keep executing each play. I missed on that flea flicker right there, and we just got to keep executing one play at a time.
Right now, though, when you talk about the overall feeling of this team, to come out 28-0, are you guys in playoff mode right now?
No, we just got to keep working. We got to keep on, executing at a high level, make sure we're at the right spot at the right time, and just keep playing physical.
Thanks for this.
Go Argos.
Well, Laura, the Argos up 3 scores, and like Kelly says, though, they feel like they still have a lot of work to do.
And he had to get that in there right for a second, right? Go Argos, and it's been go Argos right from kickoff here. 28-6 the score at the half as Well, there's lots to talk about when it comes to Chad Kelly in particular. You know, I mentioned off the top, he set a career high in passing yards the last time these teams met. He threw 4 touchdowns when they met last season. That's a career high, and both of those numbers seem to be in jeopardy after what we saw in that opening 2 quarters.
Yeah, I'm going to say this and remember who said this. If I'm the rest of the CFL, at least the teams who are going to make the playoffs, I'm concerned about what I see out of these Toronto Argonauts now because their offense is starting to catch up. We knew what this defense, what they were able to do. We knew they have a great returner in Janarian Grant, but it seems like Chad Kelly is shaping into the form that allowed him to win the MOP last year. And coming back off of suspension, yeah, he had some good games passing, but he just didn't look comfortable. The last 2 games, he's looked comfortable. And I know the last game against Winnipeg, he only threw for over 200 yards, but he did what he had to do. He knew his defense was playing well. He didn't turn the ball over. But in this game so far in his first half, he's doing everything. You see his pocket awareness. You see his arm strength. You see him spreading the ball around. You see him running the ball. So this is a concern if I'm every other team in the CFL is going to make the playoffs because Chad Kelly is playing well. We know what that defense can do, and we know what Janarian Grant can do. I'll be concerned.
Yeah, Bill, I think people see it across the league, and I think they are concerned, and they have every right to be, because I think Chad Kelly is shaking off the rust that he had from missing the first part of the season, and now he's settling in. He's settling in with a club that defense, Lepo's going to talk about that in a second. It's been just ramping it up, but he's been playing clean football. And I also got a tip of the cap to Ryan Dinwiddie, play calling, because in the last couple weeks, the balance offensively has been incredible. Against Winnipeg in that win, 23 passes and 25 rushes. In week 17 in a win over Montreal there, it was 32 passes to 30 rushes. That's balance, and that's controlling the line of scrimmage, time of possession. And then you throw in the special teams with it, with John Haggerty is #1 in a lot of statistics punting across the league, second only to Julian from Edmonton. And then you got Liam Hairolahu, who's quietly, I mean, he had 8 field goals a couple weeks ago, but quietly moving up the ranks with Sean White, Rene Paredes, and some of the best kickers in the league. He's #2 right now. So this football team is rounded out in form big time.
The one thing the Argonauts have done defensively, before I go into their defense, their offense has played great defense. And what I mean, they've stayed on the field. Yep. They've got 15 first downs, 60% conversion. They've had 5 second and short situations, 2nd and 1 to 2, where they stay on the field. They can keep running their offense. But defensively, this is the same unit we've seen. You see Flo off the edge here, getting that early sack. You got 2 sacks so far in this game. We also got a takeaway early in this game. Like Robbie Smith, Ralph Hawley, they've done a spectacular job of rushing the passer and putting Ottawa's on their heels a little bit. Now trying to run the football and say, hey, let's go run the ball, get the ball in the hands. 4 rushes, 12 yards. Right. And this is not going to be very good because now with this lead like this, Drew Brown's going to have to put the ball up in the air, and this pass rush is going to continue to go after him and go after him. But I'll tell you what, I'm very impressed, like you guys said, about the Argonauts offense are staying on the field and making it easy for this defense.
And things continue to go downhill for those RedBlacks during this 4-game losing skid. They've never led once. And yeah, it was 4 touchdowns scored by the Argos on their first 4 possessions. They are flying high in this one-sided affair and just half away now from locking up 2nd place in the East and hosting these same RedBlacks in 2 weeks' time in the Eastern semifinal.
There are problems with the BC Lions. The quarterback is not playing well.
A.J. Allen has it in his hands, and he's taking it back for a Rough Rider touchdown. Gets rid of it and intercepted. It may not be done yet. Wow.
We got to start thinking about VA. We know what VA is capable of, so at some point, you got to make a decision.
I'm playing my former team. I'm getting to start again. It's an awesome feeling.
We got 2 guys that are starting quarterbacks. We're going to do whatever it takes to give ourselves the best chance.
Look, we can all agree the BC Lions in desperate need of a spark, and Rick Campbell saying, Nathan Rourke, you're going to take a seat. We're going to bring back Vernon Adams Jr., set to make his first start tonight since August the 1st. Maddie, do you agree with the move? Do you think it was a little too late in coming?
I'm just confused what's going on there in BC right now, to be quite honest with you. Heck, last week we saw him go to Chase Bryce with VA standing on the sidelines, and why don't they go to Chase? Yeah, I don't understand it. This team does need a spark offensively. Look, Nathan Rourke has not been on point. This football team offensively with all its firepower has been very limited and not explosive at all. Where's William Stanback in all this? You know, it's like, how about establishing line of scrimmage to help take some heat off your quarterbacks, no matter who's out there? So I'm a bit perplexed with what's going on once again with Rick Campbell's football team and decision-making at the quarterback position. I think it stems back in Ottawa. We had a lot of controversy with Burris and Harris, and it was back and forth. And I was a head-scratching back then. I'm head-scratching right now. And this BC Lions is desperate to find some moves, but not a bad one to go to in Vernon Adams.
I like the change because they're struggling in this area. They don't score touchdowns. And since Nathan Rourke's taken over, they've struggled getting ball in end zone. 8 starts for both teams, but Vernon's got 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Nathan's got 4 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. So that's what has to happen. They got to get the ball in the end zone. I think it's a good change. And, you know, certainly the deep ball was a little bit better with Vernon Adams.
They had no choice. You had to make a change.
Yeah.
You had no choice. Nathan Rourke was not playing well. I know he may be their future, but this team is thinking about right now, the moment, and Vernon Adams is their guy right now.
And we know the Lions locked into 3rd place in the West. They know that they'll be starting their playoff run on the road. Whether that'll be against Winnipeg or Saskatchewan, we'll have to wait and see. But yes, the Alouettes and the Lions, that is our second game of our doubleheader coming your way later tonight here on TSN. As for game number 1 of the day, well, yes, the Argos in control of this one. The second half of this Eastern semifinal preview when we come back.
Halftime at BMO Field in Toronto, and the Argos up big in the Ottawa RedBlacks, 28-6. A look at the halftime stats that coincide with the score when you look at the first down, 17-6, Dwayne.
Yeah, dominant performance by the Toronto Argonauts on particularly the offensive side of the ball in this one. Just as you heard the panel say, doing a great job staying on the field.
Big road ahead for the RedBlacks, and head coach Bob Dice standing by with Matthew.
Bob, I know it almost goes without saying, how critical was that touchdown drive just before the end of the half?
Oh, without a doubt. You know, I think that's how we have to play this second half, is make the plays that come our way. At the end of the day, we got to focus one play at a time, and that's how we're going to come back, by everybody doing their job and making the plays when it comes their way.
Do you lean on your leaders in this situation? Do you lean on them to go ahead and hold guys accountable, make sure they're executed?
Yeah, well, we all supposed to lean on each other, and everybody's supposed to hold each other accountable, right? And so it's the job of all of us, and obviously my job as well.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
We talked to Bob Dice, Dwayne, a couple of days after their loss in Montreal. At halftime then, his frustration was about the team's lack of discipline and all the penalties. Different frustration this time, as the defense, as they did late in the first half, has to come up with some stops.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the bottom line, and you know, the Argos obviously have some talent on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to make some plays, but the big plays have hurt Ottawa badly in the first half of this football game.
There's Janarian Grant, who hasn't had a big play yet. He's a game breaker. It's one thing, special teams coverage for the RedBlacks has been good on number 3. So dangerous, and heading his way to start the second half after the kick from Leone. Janarian Grant, ball comes out. Looks like the last to touch it was Jack Cassar. So it does look like it'll stay Argo ball. That could have been a break for Ottawa. They could have taken the ball coming up to start the second half.
Jack Cassar has been the Argos leader in special teams tackles, doing it on coverage teams. Great heads-up play by the former Carleton Raven here, recognizing he doesn't need to get control of that ball. He just needs to be the last to touch it before it goes out of bounds under Canadian rules. So just bats it out of there. Terrific effort from the Mississauga, Ontario native.
Jack Cassar, 4th year out of Carleton. So it is Argo football to start the second half. Kelly completes it. Kadeem Carey across midfield. Good pickup by Carey. The yards after the catch, and looks like it's a first down right out of the gate for the Argos.
We talked about big plays hurting Ottawa's defense in the first half of this one. Mackay Polk doing much of the damage in the first half. Argo's leading receiver here in his first year with the club. His role gets bigger and bigger. This is a guy who scratched and clawed just to stay on the roster. Basically, injuries kept him on the roster the first few weeks of the season, and he has just emerged as a star for the Toronto Argonauts.
3 catches, 104 yards. I mentioned before he was too shy of 800 coming in, so he's over 900 yards now. He's going to have a chance for 1,000. There's still a game to go. That's caught by Daniels. And here we go with the Argos offense again. Back-to-back first downs, getting it inside the Red Black 40.
Well, there's a guy who had 1,000 last year in Daniels, veteran leader of that receiving group. As for the rookie, Mackay Polk, he was the intended target on that flea flicker. I would have moved him that much closer to that 1,000-yard mark.
Well, he got it today.
Yeah.
He's going. 20 rushes, 17 of the passing. Yet some of those pass plays, as mentioned, have been just huge. The Ottawa 37 passing again this time. Caught and turned back nicely by Coxie. Takes a late hit from Lamont, but Coxie has another first down for the Argos, approaching the Red Blacks 20.
Well, 2 things impressed me about this catch from DeMonte Coxie. First of all, the concentration, because he knows that the hit is coming. But secondly, the awareness to know that the hit is coming. That sometimes we talk about guys making a move with the ball before they make the catch. It takes away from their concentration on the catch. They end up dropping the ball. Here, Coxie knows exactly what move he's going to make because of where coverage is coming from, but still keeps his focus on the ball as long as he needs to.
Argos offense starting this half the way they started the first half, marching right down the field. They're at the Ottawa 20. Handing off Carey, who slips just as he's getting hit by Aiden John, who would come on for the injured Lorenzo Malden. Had a sack in the first half and a big stop there for the Red Blacks. A loss of 5 yards.
Yeah, Aiden John has seen a little bit more opportunity on that D-line coming from the left side of your screen. Quick swim inside, beats a pretty darn good offensive lineman in Ryan Hunter to make a play on this one. But since the injury to Bryce Carter, there have been some more snaps available for he and Kenny Onyeka on that D-line. John making the most of it.
Flags out on the whistle.
Procedure, Toronto number 65. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Procedure call against Landon Rice.
Put down on your highlight. Let's go, lock in.
And interestingly, Rice had Aiden John lined up in front of him on that one. Maybe the Halifax, Nova Scotia native played his university ball at St. Mary's. Earned himself a little bit of a reputation.
Big 2nd and 20 for Ottawa's defense coming up here. Here's Kelly. He has time. Gets rid of it. Deep block. Out of bounds. Closest to it, David Ungerer. 3rd down coming up. And it's still well within reach of a field goal for the Argos, but stops here for the drive.
Ottawa defense turning it up a little bit on that possession as needed.
Here is Liram Hairolau, his first field goal try of the afternoon, put down by John Haggerty, and they open up the second half with a scoring drive, this time for 3 to increase their lead up to 25 points now as Drew Brown comes on. It's 31-6, 3rd quarter at BMO Field.
Well, the Toronto Argonaut defense has been continuing its swarming ways in the first half of this ball game. Getting after Ottawa quarterback Drew Brown a little bit, limiting what Kalen Layburn's been able to do in the run game. 12 guys run into the ball.
2 sacks in the afternoon. That's after they had 7 in Winnipeg last week. Also forcing a fumble. That turnover leading to one of the Argo touchdowns in the first half. So here we go now. 1st and 10 Ottawa. The Red Blacks have their 40. Down 25. And that one is caught. And getting up is Braylon Addison, but not much there for the Red Blacks. A 2nd and long still ahead. Loss of a yard.
So much attention on the Toronto Argonaut defensive line of late. Needless to say, second and long is not where you want to be against these guys. Ralph Hawley right there with Mackay Polk in the rookie conversation here in Toronto.
What an ad Hawley's been. You mentioned a lot, Wayne Hendricks and Brandon Barlow. That one looked like it might have got knocked or his arm at the line of scrimmage. Nowhere near the intended target. And it's a 3rd and 11 coming up here for Ottawa. And Robbie Smith looks like he's favoring his left hand.
It looked like Smith was in on that one. Working against Zach Peleos. Keep an eye on Drew Brown. Looked like he might have been grabbing that right leg a little bit.
Richie Leone back to kick it away from the Argos. Still very much under control in this half. We got 3. Janarian Grant breaks loose. He gets it up to the 50 after a punt of 33 yards for Leone, and a flag is down after that return by Janarian Grant. Kadeem Carey, 8 carries, 25 yards, and the touchdown to get it all started. Toronto football with a 31-6 lead. Look at Kadeem Carey, who's had a very good year. His first in double blue after starting his CFL career in Calgary. 1-2-3, sizable lead for the rushing leader Brady Oliveira, but Kadeem Carey now up to 1,030, just going over 1,000 again in his career last week in Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think when you look at both Carey and William Standback, obviously the change of scenery has served them well.
There he is again. And on that carry on first down to set up another 2nd and short here for the Argonauts.
You know, you become a free agent, the team is making an offer and you're trying to figure out, is this going to be a fit? Basically put you in a good position to be successful as a player, make a contribution to your team. And for both those 2 veteran running backs, obviously it's worked out pretty well.
We talked to Deontay McMahon about this, and you might think running backs, they just want the ball themselves all the time, but McMahon enjoys the 3 different set of skills or strengths that all 3 of the 3-headed monster in the Argos have. Frankie Griffin in there among the RedBlacks on Kadeem Carey that time, but he did get enough for the first down.
Well, Ottawa getting the halftime message to up the physicality. Frankie Griffin leading the way on that one.
But the furthest point of advancement before Griffin drives him back was enough to move the sticks again. For the Argo 39, 31-6. And already we're getting towards the midway point of the 3rd quarter. Back to Carey. Has some room. Breaks some tackles. He keeps moving. Has another first down. Javon Santos Knox finally tackling him. But here come the Argos again. And on the ground.
We're seeing the Argos roll 2 backs out there at a time. That time, Deontay McMahon motioned to line up out wide. And quite frankly, I think it created a distraction for the Ottawa defense, anticipating that it might be some sort of gadget play or package play to get McMahon out in space against coverage. What it does is help loosen things up again in the box for Kadeem Carey. So the 2 backs working together in different ways.
The Argos have had the ball for twice as long as the RedBlacks today. And this continues with Daniels taking it down to the Ottawa 48. And looks like another first down. This relentless Argo offense keeps moving. Actually, where they spot very close. Call it another 2nd and short for Ottawa.
Just see the rookie Kevin Mittal check into the lineup for the Argos in place of Dejon Brissett.
Keeping it again in short yardage. And it's interesting, they're having a lot more success in short yardage, but you're right. That in the past has been a problem trying to figure it out and what kind of approach they're going to take with Kelly in. It used to be Cameron Dukes. Will they always run a short yardage style or spread it out as we saw early in the game?
Yeah, here we're seeing them not bringing big bodies in. I think, again, much of the feeling is you bring big bodies, they're going to bring big bodies. They feel they have a little more flexibility and maybe a little more advantage, quite frankly, going with their 5 receiver personnel. That time, Mittal, a little bigger guy, about 2 1/4, coming in to help with the block.
You get conditioned that there's a short yardage specialist like Tommy Stevens, Chris Streveler before he got hurt, Dominic Davis to put a top, or bringing in a running back like Andy Leafray or David Mackey. But it's not the conventional wisdom to leave your starter in that the Argonauts have been doing.
Yeah, as rosters in the Canadian Football League, so basically over the past generation, gotten a little bigger. Yeah, you can have guys in slightly more specialized roles, and the short yardage quarterback has kind of become one of those.
Kelly's been staying in, taking those snaps, and so far in this day, it's been working out well for Toronto as they get another first down. They're at the Ottawa 48, and they are in charge, looking to win this and assure themselves of a home playoff day. Dan Adebaboye, the ball carrier this time, one of the 3 we talked about, along with Carey and Deontay McMahon, and he picks up about 5 more on the ground for Toronto.
Adebaboye has exceeded already this season his number of carries from last year. He got hurt late in the year. It was unavailable in the playoffs for the Argos, but last year 41 carries, averaged 7 yards a crack last year prior to that injury. Coming back from it this year, the per carry numbers are down, but still very productive at over 200 yards.
1 second and 5. Completes it in tight. Coverage was there, and he did find the window to complete that pass. Dejan Brissett with a touchdown in the first half as another Argo first down.
Kelly doing a nice job stepping up, knowing the hit is coming, but standing in there to deliver that throw. Terrific play by Brissett in traffic. Watch the arms extending between those 2 defenders. Pulling in that football. The Argos have such a wealth of receivers, and their Canadian depth at that spot. Very impressive.
The Ottawa 34, first down. Carey back in the game and picks up a couple more yards, trying to grind it down to the 30. But also value here with a 25-point lead is, it seems like we just got the second half started, and here we are under 5 minutes to go until 3/4 time.
Yeah, the Argos with another pounding drive. Approaching 6 minutes, as you see, in the current possession.
Pretty hard for Ottawa's offense to come back in this game if they can't get on the field.
Yeah, well, Lapo, I thought, described it perfectly at halftime. The Toronto offense is playing great defense.
Yeah, keeping it out of Ottawa's hands. Kelly, that's caught by Coxie. And that's down at the 20. Look at the moves he's doing. He did backtrack, but he does have enough for a first down. He's looking to get it that much closer. But here we go, inside the 25 for the Argos.
That's Coxie on the outside here, toying with our emotions as he makes the catch. And then he had the first down, didn't have the first down, had the first down again.
And Chad Kelly with that goes over 300 yards, 307 now on 18 of 22. His best passing, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, highest number.
Most yards was in that big loss in Ottawa 6 weeks ago. And he completes another, but it's popped loose. RedBlacks treating it like a fumble. Will they rule it's a completion? Looking for Mackay Polk. Javon Santos Knox getting into it with Landon Rice now, and Carey is there as well.
So just as Polk catches that, takes a shot from Lamont on the corner.
And they've ruled that incomplete. No catch. So no fumble.
Yeah, again, it's always the slow motion replay always a little misleading in terms of how long he had the ball or how much, to what degree he had control of it.
2nd and 10. That is caught inside the 15. And Coxey is in on the act again. He gets it down to the 10. It's another first down as the Argos are getting close to that Ottawa end zone again.
Yeah, a little bit of room for the Toronto receivers to work underneath now, having made Ottawa's defense very aware of those shots over the top. Yet the defense now backing off. Pick on the short and intermediate game.
Look at this drive. We're approaching 7.5 minutes now. The Argo offense on the field. Just hanging on to that football. That's Deontay McMahon now. It's a 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 11. And yeah, I mean, when you're up this much by 25 points, even if you don't get any points to show for it, it's big damage to Ottawa just with their offense off the field this long.
Yeah. Yeah, and aside from the offense being out of sync and defense that, you know, they've been on the field so much already. We talked about it in the first half. Those long drives for Toronto really pay their biggest dividends in the second half of the ball game, as Ottawa's D is worn out, and I think you're seeing it already.
Kelly looking on a 2nd and 9, end zone, touchdown. Well, they're just padding the stats now. They are getting closer and closer to confirming a home playoff date against these RedBlacks.
Now second of the day. Second of the day for Jean Brissett. 3 receivers looking to create a little bit of confusion. He's got the other 2 guys pushing deep. He's Brissett one-on-one underneath.
13 plays, 82 yards. Yeah, they had to go down another long field. And the point after by Haralau. So in 8:15 this time. They had a drive in the first half that went 7.5 minutes. Time of possession, not even through 3 quarters. The Argos have already had the ball for more than half of the game and a 38-6 lead.
Well, another long, grinding, grueling touchdown drive put together by the Toronto Argonauts. 13 plays covering 82 yards. And what really jumps off the page, eating up 8 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock. That mix of pass and run, culminating with this touchdown catch by Jean Brissett, extending the lead to 38-6.
And the 3rd touchdown of the season for Brissett, a flag down, a return by Pimpleton. The time of possession, 31:52 Argos, 11:41 Ottawa. In charge, 38-6. Purelator tackle hunger, and the stop in Toronto this week can't help but think of our friend Chris Schultz, who was a part of this cause for so many years. Just to see him again, of course, we lost him 3.5 years ago, but Schultz was very proud of this program, raising money, collecting food for those in need. And a lot of people lining up to make contributions today outside BMO Field, bringing their food, making donations of money as well for Purelator Tackle Hunger. And Mark Schultz, Chris's older brother, and his wife Ruth, there for the presentation of the check to the Daily Bread Food Bank of over $21,000 raised. Wonderful, and a great legacy. That big part of it was our friend Chris Schultz.
Yeah, absolutely. The driving force behind that cause.
Ottawa football down a bunch. Not much time. The way things are going, Justin Hardy, one of their key offensive weapons back after missing last week's game against Montreal, but he just hasn't had much production today, and for the obvious reason that the RedBlacks offense just has not had. Look at the time of possession difference. Just hasn't had the ball very much.
Yeah, as you and I remarked during the commercial break, I mean, here we are with a minute still to go in the third quarter. Ottawa could have the football for the rest of this game, and they would still lose the time of possession back.
That is extraordinary. Ottawa with the ball, but Toronto's already won time of possession. Kalen Labor, a couple of runs, he didn't go anywhere, but this first reception certainly does. He puts his head down, and he picks up an Ottawa first down.
Yeah, here you'll see Leyburn does a nice job lowering his pad level. Not giving the defender much to hit, gets his center of gravity down low. Bounce off that first would-be tackle and pick up a much-needed first down for Ottawa.
They're first in the second half. We're already done. 3 quarters just about. 10 seconds to go. And that is caught. Jalen Ackman has it up around the 45, shy of a first down, but close again with the last play of the third quarter coming up, and a second and short coming up for the RedBlacks. Looking very much like these two teams will meet here again at BMO Field in Toronto in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks from today is the Argos look like they're going to be finishing up in second place unless the RedBlacks can do something amazing in the fourth quarter. Last play, quarter number 3. Leyburn has it. And on that 2nd and 2, he does have another first down. So the RedBlacks offense finally getting something going now, but they're behind a whole bunch. 32 points. That's the lead for the Toronto Argonauts, looking to wrap up second place in the East Division. Could be just 15 minutes away from sealing their fate and getting that home playoff date. We look at the three-quarter stats, Dwayne Ford, and we see the dominant score by Toronto. I can't recall too many games where the one that's the most eye-popping is the comparison at the bottom.
Yeah, as we just talked about, that time of possession, remarkable, and it's been a balanced offense for the Toronto Argonauts in this football game, equally effective whether running or throwing the ball. You know, we talked about the big plays in the first half, and you don't necessarily associate that with time of possession, but they were so efficient in doing it in the first half. Not a lot of mistakes, not a lot of incompletions for Chad Kelly. Kept that clock running and eating up time.
And a good balance of running and passing. I mean, for a lot of it, they had run the ball more than they had thrown it. And success with both, and Chad Kelly. Defense on the field now, but you wonder if his day is done with them up more than 4 touchdowns. You can see Cameron Dukes and Nick Arbuckle warming up during the break. It's Ottawa ball, though, at the 48. Drew Brown, he completes it. That's Khalil Pimpleton, and coming in, Benji Franklin got a shoulder down on Pimpleton and quickly knocked him to the turf. A first down, Ottawa.
Sometimes it sucks to be small. Pimpleton takes a pretty good shot here from Franklin, but as we've seen this young man over the course of his first CFL season, takes a licking and keeps on ticking, as the saying goes.
He had an explosive game, really introducing himself to the CFL in Edmonton. Catch, run for a touchdown in that game. Kick return for a touchdown. There's Leyburn on the catch. Leyburn getting more as a receiver in the yardage after the catch. That time picks up another Ottawa first down.
Yeah, and that's an opportunity that Ottawa may have in throwing the football, as from Toronto's perspective, obviously you want to get every stop you can, but you don't mind if Ottawa has a drive that eats up time, as time is sort of Ottawa's enemy at this point. So you're trying to avoid giving up the big play. You'll allow some of those underneath completions.
Giving them that all day, or what's left of it. 13:30 on the clock, fourth quarter. Deeper look down the right. Dominic Rhymes reaching up with that left hand. Sean Amos bearing down on him, but Rhymes not able to make that catch in a second down coming up.
Yeah, this one just sailing a little bit on Drew Brown. Long throw out to that wide side. Good coverage supplying that veteran versus veteran battle. Deshaun Amos coming out on top.
Second and 10 of the Toronto 40. Blitz coming. Brown gets rid of it. And it's Braylon Addison with the catch. Shy of a first down. Royce Metier is there to make sure of that. So a third down, and you have to think, of course, offense stays on the field with a 38-6 game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Tyshawn Blackburn, nickel linebacker, was coming on the blitz. The space he vacated, as you so often see versus blitz, is exactly where the ball goes.
RedBlacks have to go. They do. They get it. First down and more for Braylon Addison, keeping his feet and still going. Gets a block and gets a touchdown, Ottawa.
Braylon Addison in his return to the lineup, making the most of it. His second touchdown of the ball game. And this veteran who's battled through injuries the previous couple of seasons, after being one of the top receivers in the Canadian Football League during his time with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Addison, as you mentioned, missed a lot of time. His first game in over 2 months. Caps off the 9-play, 95-yard drive with his first touchdown of the season. These RedBlacks, nearly 4 minutes off the clock. That's an important thing to consider. They go for the two, and the two-point conversion fails. So Ottawa has 2 touchdowns, but no conversions on them. And it is still very much the Argos game at this point in time. 38-12. Toronto still leading.
Oh, Braylon Addison, the man who scored the touchdown, going to get zone coverage here. His job is just find the soft spot. Sees an opening, sits down, letting Drew Brown get the ball out of his hands quickly. Then it's just Addison's effort to break a couple of tackles after the catch that result in the Ottawa major.
And so Leone will kick it off. Now a 26-point difference. And does kick it deep for Janarian Grant, who takes it at the Toronto 10. Straight up. Finds an opening. Ball comes out. RedBlacks have it. Dawson Pierre, the rookie, picks it up. So it's the second time that Grant has coughed it up. The first time the Argos got a break and hung on to possession, but hey, 26 points, one at a time for Ottawa. They've got the ball at the 42 Argos.
And you're going to see Dawson Pierre on the right side, right there, actually was past Janarian Grant, but because he keeps running to the football, keeps working himself back into the play, he finds himself in just the right spot as this hit pops the ball out. Rookie out of Concordia. A huge specialty play.
Having one of those look what I found moments. So Ottawa benefits from a turnover. They have the ball just coming off the touchdown. See what else they can do. Here's a deep look for Nick Martner. And it's intercepted by Tavares McFadden. So the RedBlacks got a break, but they give the ball right back.
Well, RedBlacks looking for the big play on that momentum shift to the turnover. Try to take the big shot down the rail. Looking to take advantage of the height of Nick Martner. As first you see the fumble. Dawson Pierre with the recovery there. Drew Brown looking for another. 2024 draftee Nick Martner, but Tavares McFadden steals it from the rookie receiver.
Tavares McFadden Third year at a Florida State with his second interception of the season. And we got a challenge now from Bob Dice. At a critical moment, obviously, for Ottawa. They not only need touchdowns, they need them in a real hurry. And they did have an opportunity there in that deep look to Martner.
Ottawa's challenging for defensive pass interference on the play. The play will be.
At first wondering, well, they couldn't challenge on the interception because all turnovers are reviewed, and they've already ruled it is an interception. So,
and I suspect that's the road they were going down, is to maybe suggest whether McFadden was out of bounds, didn't have it, didn't have control of the ball. Again, we're looking at the matchup on the outside. Nick Martner, the targeted receiver on the play. McFadden right with him. And I don't think you're going to see any contact.
Well, that shouldn't take long. It's a challenge for pass interference.
Yeah, and you can see clearly. You know, I understand why Ottawa is looking very hard for something to challenge for on this play, because they need this play to go differently.
But it doesn't look like it will.
No.
We await the official word from the command center.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Interception by Toronto.
Hey, God, Tommy, not
so it is Argo football, and they are very deep in their own zone. They have been before. A couple of their touchdown drives, they have gone nearly the length of the field and taken just big chunks of time off the clock. And we're at 11:15 and counting now in the fourth quarter. And RedBlacks running out of time. Down 26. Chad Kelly, though, looked like his day might be done, but then Ottawa scored a touchdown, so he's back out on the ground. Out of Aboye, up across the 10. Second down coming up.
And that little bit of breathing room goes a long way, even just in opening up some options in your playbook where you don't have to maneuver around the uprights.
The Argos have repeatedly, and part of their success, obviously, getting themselves into second and short so many times in this game. Their plays on first down have really helped them out big time so far. In this one, it's a 2nd and 3. That carry by Aboye. Gets it again. And looks like he has another first down. So 2 running plays, more time off the clock, and the drive continues for the Argos.
Very effectively keeping Ottawa's defense off balance with their own play calling.
Difference in rushing, just 15 rushing yards for Ottawa. Argo defense completely shutting that down. Toronto 15. Aboye again, this time nothing. Maybe a lost yard there. It's Bennett Williams, strong side linebacker, and Damon Webb coming in to stop Aboye.
And I think when you look at the discrepancy between the two teams' rushing numbers at this point, you know, a lot of that just having to do with the score, right? Ottawa chasing the game and needing to try and get chunks of yardage, get yardage quickly, essentially. For so much of this game, they got behind by a lot early and had to get away from the run game a little bit.
Only 6 running plays by Ottawa. So it's Brissett, a couple of touchdowns in this game, gets it up across the 15, and that 2nd and long. And frustration there from the Argos. Bennett Williams in the mix, but punting unit will come on, and Haggerty's going to have to kick it from deep in the Argo zone.
Bennett Williams aggressively trying to rip out the football there. Again, understandably, given the situation in this ball game, much as it may have ruffled some Argo feathers.
Khalil Pimpleton does have one return for a touchdown this season for the RedBlacks. Now for Ottawa, this would be a good time for number 2. Should have good field position. Pimpleton takes it, gets outside midfield, cuts it back. There's a good thing going here. He's still on his feet, and a good return for Khalil Pimpleton. Down just outside the 35 of the Argos. So offense coming back on near the midway point of the 4th quarter. RedBlacks facing a road playoff date, running out of time with a lot of ground. Argos defense huge last week in Winnipeg. First, so this is heading down to the final minute. The sack by Falarina-Rimolade to force a 3rd down and long. Zach Collaros couldn't get the first down because of another defensive star in Wynton McManus. Let's go back to Matthew.
I mentioned, Rod, that Wynton McManus and Falarina-Rimolade are really leaders in this room in the way that they've tried to impress on Chad Kelly how to play in big moments. Well, it's because they lead by example. I was speaking to co-defensive coordinator Kevin Iben about this, and he was effusive when talking about the way that Rimolade and McManus manage the game when it comes to the big moments. They say, both of those players, that if it's not me, who's it going to be? If it's not now, when? Leading by example is big, and you could see the effect it had on Tavares McFadden, that interception that he had in the last series, that Ottawa's last series right by the goal line. But speaking to Wynton McManus about this time of year and his play against Zach Collaros, he said, guys, it's me. I've got to make a play to lead by example for everybody.
Matthew, 2 significant players in a defense that's really finding its game late in the season. Such a big part of the Argos' success lately. That play, though, Khalil Pimpleton, and does pick up a first down inside the 20. They go back to the run. And pick up down towards the 10, grinding down is Caleb Laburn.
And here you see the Argos pass rush getting contributions all across the board. Mentioned the veterans Serezna and Rimolade soft and lined up beside each other. Robbie Smith added to his total today.
Laburn this time, that was Addison before, by the way, with that carry. They pick up to get them down closer. And that short yardage needed is picked up by Laburn for a 1st and goal coming up here down at the 6 for the RedBlacks.
Rimolade still in there, slugging in these later minutes. Seeing some of the young guys getting an opportunity on defense. Tyson Hergott out of Waterloo in at DN. See a little bit of Jordan Williams at D tackle as well today.
On the 1st and goal, Brown scrambling. Serezna's chasing him. He gets rid of it. And too far. He's looking for Hardy, but right out of bounds as well. 2nd and goal coming up. 5:56, just under 6 minutes to go in the 4th quarter.
You see Jake Serezna from his D tackle spot, given pursuit probably just as well. He was coming from the backside on Drew Brown, because you don't want to see this coming at you.
Serezna came into the day tied with Ottawa's Michael Wakefield for the CFL sacks lead at 8.
A lot of interior guys at the top of the sacks list this year.
Sure are. Toronto 6 now, 2nd and goal. Brown deep, right to the back of the end zone, but no, it is caught by Rhymes, but put out of bounds. 3rd down coming up.
Just a bit long on this one. Rhymes coming from the left side, working for the post. Just ran out of room.
Third and goal. Crowd picks up here at BMO. Brown swinging it out to Laburn. Can't find the end zone. Can't even get to the 5. Good defensive play again. That's Benji Franklin coming in and had it all read perfectly. Kevin Iben likes that. And why not? Because it's a turnover on downs. And the Argos can start making plans for hosting a playoff game against these Red Blacks in 2 weeks. Coming up on TSN, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, the Alouettes on the road. They've already clinched first up against the BC Lions, and they are already in third place, locked in. They're going to be on the road to face either Saskatchewan or Winnipeg. First in the West still is undecided. That goes down to the final week next week. But that one is coming up, and Vernon Adams getting the start against his old team for BC as the Lions try to just straighten this out before playoff time. It's Cameron Dukes at quarterback now, in for Chad Kelly. Dukes hasn't played since week 9, or that was his last start. He did get in for a few reps in more recent times, but the final numbers for Kelly, who completed his first 21 of 26, 331, 3 touchdowns, just a lot of that damage done in the first half.
Yeah, so we've seen 2 games that have been kind of opposites of each other, really, in the matchups between these 2 teams. Argos dominate early in this one, as Ottawa dominated early in their home. And knowing that they'll meet again in 2 weeks here at BMO.
Supporting your point. Going nowhere out of a boy. Well, he does break loose a little bit now. And that second down play, but third down coming up. But supporting your point about the importance of home field. Those dominant performances were by the home team. And Ottawa now knows they're going to have to come back here in 2 weeks' time and win a road playoff game. By the way, Dwayne, in the history of the Red Blacks, they have played 7 postseason games. 3 of them were Grey Cups. The other 4 were all at TD Place. They have never played a road playoff game, and that's about to change.
They've done in the postseason in this stadium, though, Rod?
That is an interesting question, because the biggest game, the biggest win in the 10-year history of the Ottawa Red Blacks, Wayne Ford, to your point, came right here at BMO Field in the upset victory in overtime to the Calgary Stampeders in 2016. So they do have that. Bob Dice certainly does. He was their special teams coordinator with Ottawa back in 16. So he squeaks through. How do you do that? He's still going. The little Pimpleton, and a flag comes out late after he is tackled as he gets it inside the Argo 25.
Yeah, I think when you look for positives in this football game for Ottawa, and you have to look hard, but there has been no quit. You think about a play like this by Pimpleton, or the Braylon Addison touchdown where he's fighting through tackles to get into the end zone. Those are the kinds of things that you need to build on as they face adversity in the playoffs.
I was going to say, is there something that the Red Blacks can take out of even these final few minutes that might help them as they get ready for that playoff?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking to finish strong now, right? Pimpleton has given them great field position here, an opportunity to score last.
Return, Toronto number 34 went out of bounds on his own. This is a 10-yard penalty
for illegal participation.
Kerfala Exame in the special teams for the Argos. A little bit closer for Ottawa, but foregone conclusion now as we head down near 3 minutes, 38-12. Ryan Dinwiddie. And by contrast for him, if you take away the Grey Cups, in his time with Toronto, has never had a road playoff game. Not yet. They want one this year, of course. They want to beat Ottawa in 2 weeks, and then they want to go to Montreal for the Eastern Final. Dinwiddie, the head coach of Toronto since 2021. Swinging it out. Justin Hardy gets tackled. Robbie Smith is there. Toronto Argonauts. They finished first in the previous 3 years. They'll be happy right now with second place. They wanted to secure it, and they have. Just going to run out the clock now. It's still up big in the Red Blacks. about to wrap things up here at BMO Field. These two teams will be right back here 2 weeks from today for the Eastern semifinal for the right to go to Montreal for the East final. Drew Brown, the RedBlacks. They got a 2nd and 4 at the Toronto 6. Down 26. Just trying to cut into this. Make some sort of statement, and they do there with Nick Mardner coming in for the Ottawa touchdown. The rookie Mardner gets that TD.
Mardner, left side of your screen. The slant underneath. Use the big body to shield out the defender. And no doubt he'll have some family and friends in attendance, hailing from nearby Oakville, Ontario.
Nick Mardner, high draft pick, number 2 overall, and he has his 3rd touchdown of the season with the RedBlacks. Albeit late in a game that is already decided, 2:39 on the clock, the 2-pointer, and that'll get it up to 20. Still 18 points ahead of the Argos with 2:39 on the clock. Talk about Ottawa receivers. Very saddened to learn this week of the passing of one of the all-time greats, Wick Tucker, number 26. Just a terrific Hall of Fame receiver with the old Ottawa Rough Riders back in the Russ Jackson days from 1962 to 70, and won the Grey Cup with the Riders in back-to-back years in 68 and 69.
Yeah, Wick Tucker, well, playing before my time, but one of those names you definitely grow up recognizing as a CFL legend, and still holds a CFL record for the highest career average yards per catch. 22.4 over a career.
Over a career is just amazing. And to think, you know, he retired in 1970 and that record still stands.
Yeah.
For 50 years later, Wick Tucker. And I'm old enough to remember those old Ottawa football days. Russ Jackson, Hall of Famer. Ron Stewart, Wick Tucker, Vic Washington, Margene Atkins. Just some they got great teams. They beat Calgary in 68 and Saskatchewan in the 69 Grey Cup. And Tucker had a couple of touchdowns against the Riders in a losing cause when Saskatchewan won it in 1966. But Hall of Famer went in 1993 with Tucker passing away this week at the age of 83. Our condolences to his family. Short kick. Onside. Bobbled. It's Ottawa ball. So if nothing else, Dwayne, we talked about any kind of statement they can make late in a game and execute some things that who knows might come in handy a couple of weeks from now. They're not going to get this game today, but trying to salvage something late, knowing that they'll meet again.
Yeah, finish strong, and you know, even to show something like this late, I think it's very much about, from an Ottawa point of view, looking to win the quarter, win the half, win some portion of this ball game. Perfect bounce just off the outstretched fingertips of Dejon Brissett. Kenny Onyeka with the grab.
The RedBlacks getting set for their first playoff action since 2018. Some more now. Pimpleton catches and spins. Gets it inside the 15 now, 2:29 on the clock, so nothing else threatening to make this game a lot closer.
Yeah, I think Ottawa may be petitioning to add a 5th quarter to this one, as they have momentum for the first time all day the last few minutes of this ball game.
Right down to the Toronto 13. Getting that onside kick. Brown. That one going right back to Pimpleton. Benji Franklin is there. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, Ottawa looking to leave Toronto at least with something, leave the Argos with something to think about at the end of this ball game. Not going down quietly.
So mixed blessing for Bob Dice, the way this season has gone. Terrific start out of the gate in the first 10 at 7-2-1. And clinching a playoff spot a little bit later on for the first time since 2018. However, this will be their 5th straight loss late in the season. End zone look and a flag comes out. And they will finish that season, by the way, against the resurgent Hamilton Tiger Cats, who laid a beat down on the Calgary Stampeders last night.
Ottawa number 55. That penalty's declined. It will be 3rd down.
So it's Hamilton in Ottawa to close out the season for those two teams next week. Drake Center's called cold. And then for Toronto, they go to Edmonton to finish off their season. But with this, knowing that they've already locked up 2nd place in the East and that home playoff game.
Yeah. So there will be an element of self-preservation to that one.
Saw Jake Serezna there in a trip back to Edmonton where he used to play for the Elks.
Yep. Big off-season trade.
And what a payoff it's been with all the changes in the Argo defensive line. Great. Into the end zone and another Ottawa touchdown. So if nothing else, they're closing the gap here. You didn't see the game and you read the final score. You might get this thing down to a score. They just 2:04 on it. See what they do from here on in.
3 receivers at different levels on that left side. Justin Hardy working the middle. Drew Brown delivers a strike.
Hardy came into the game, gets that touchdown, his 5th of the season. He came in 122 yards shy of Justin McInnes for the lead in receiving yardage, something, by the way, Hardy said he doesn't care about. He's just worried about his team right now. But gets a little bit closer. He plays next week, and McInnes' final game is today. So there's another 2. So that's Braylon Addison. So a couple more points on the board. And it's up to 38-28 now, 2:04 on the clock. And at a certain point in time, I know it's still a 2-score game, but the Argos, tortoise in the hair here. They may want to start to get a little concerned if Ottawa can do another onside kick.
Yeah, might be feeling a little uncomfortable right about now. That got the perfect red-black bounce on the short kick from Lewis. Great strike down the rail. Brown to Pimpleton, indeed up a big chunky yardage, which they needed. And the always reliable Justin Hardy being Justin Hardy. The big catch in the end zone, Addison adding the 2-point convert.
By the way, for what it's worth, Drew Brown's numbers, 26 of 36. There's Corey McDermott, special teams coaches. They're going to have to try this onside kick again. But 26 of 36, 302, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick for Drew Brown. Again, stat lines can be misleading in the context of a game, just as it was for Chad Kelly in Ottawa 6 weeks ago. So Lewis Ward will try it again. If Ottawa can get the ball, down 10 now, but still over 2 minutes on the clock. The hop, it's loose. Well, they had a chance, and they do get it. Jalen Ackman falls on it. So at a certain point in time, Ryan Dinwiddie has to say enough is enough. We're starting to play with fire a little bit here.
We talked about the positives that Ottawa looks to take away from this game, finishing strong, one of them. Now special teams certainly looking to be one of them. This 2 onside kicks, as well as a fumbled ball that Ottawa recovered deep in Toronto territory. I think Mickey Donovan, special teams coordinator for the Toronto Argonauts, that was not an exclamation of joy that you just witnessed.
I don't suppose you read lips, do you? And I don't think you have to. Because this is, at one point, Toronto led by 32. And yes, only 2 minutes left in the clock. But even for the Argos, this has to start getting uncomfortable now. Brown back to work, wide open. They back off. Pimpleton again. Gang up on him just inside the 45, 149. Hey, now we're at the point where we've seen leads like this get eroded in less time than this. I remember you and I were doing a game in Ottawa against Winnipeg, and when they were down with 2.5 minutes to go, down 16, they came back.
The original Crumback.
Yeah, they came back and won it in overtime. So this is suddenly getting interesting if the RedBlacks can find the end zone again. Pimpleton down closer to the 30. Again, the Argos are happy to give them that stuff underneath and kill more of the clock. 1:36 on it.
Yeah, time again still an ally of the Argos, but those are pretty good chunks that they are conceding right now to the Ottawa RedBlacks.
Right down to the Toronto 31. Brown. No, incomplete. Second down coming up. And Lewis Ward staying limber there in the sideline. Remember, 2-score game, and at this point, if they end up in that predicament, they could go ahead, kick the field goal, and try yet another onside kick to see if they could go for the end zone then. But it is a second down and 10 right now, and Ward has certainly been doing his job with those onside kicks.
Yeah, he's gotten a very good bounce, nice execution. It's not a fluke where the ball bounces on those kicks. See kickers work on it all the time. That third bounce goes high.
Four-man rush on Brown, flushed out. Has to throw it away. So yeah, you got a 3rd and 10 now. So after you get close enough, kick the field goal. Lewis Ward is coming on.
Yeah, that's exactly as you alluded to. The field goal team, the decision was made. If they got stopped, get the field goal team out there.
This ends up being a much closer game than we would have thought when it was over 4 touchdowns. The Argos leading not long ago.
Well, when we talked about the time of possession, I joked about Ottawa having the ball for the rest of the game, and it kind of feels like they basically have.
They have, yeah. It is the 4th quarter score is 22-0 RedBlacks. Leone to put it down. Ward checking things again. From 38, the second field goal try. The first one went wide. That one is right through the uprights. And so here we go. We have something we couldn't have imagined a few minutes ago. A 1-score game. It is 38-31 Argos, and still over a minute to play.
A terrific 4th quarter effort, particularly by the Ottawa RedBlacks special teams. You know, and you think about the Janarian Grant fumble recovered by Dawson Pierre. If Ottawa doesn't throw an interception on the very next play, that's points.
There's points
as
there.
well. Like
they had their chances too, and you look back at it, and 25-0 4th quarter. Ottawa getting right back in at a 38-31 game. I mean, the clock is still against them, 1:12 on it, but they've just executed 2 onside kicks. There's Pinball Clements. Maybe a little more stressed.
He's not smiling the way he usually does.
He usually is, and that man, Mickey Donovan, the special teams coordinator, certainly not smiling. As Ottawa and Lewis Ward, they're going to try to do this again.
Well, and so my question is, do you go for the bounce short kick again, or do you try something different, thinking lightning can't strike 3 times in the same place?
Well, I just... I don't know if you should mess with something working, but are you thinking something a little bit
well,
longer?
there's no one lined up deep at all for Toronto.
Well, Ward tries it again. Well, it is a little different. He doesn't get the hop that time. And it was the bounce that made it hard for the Argos to contend with the previous 2. Adeboboye comes in. That one straight up in the air and into Adeboboye's arm. So 1:09 on the clock. And the Argos can't breathe a sigh of relief just yet, but this has been far more interesting than they would have bargained for.
And how tightly will the Toronto Argonauts be clutching the football on this possession?
The previous 2 by Ward had bounced first and taken a crazy hop. The RedBlacks had recovered. So Chad Kelly still in. Carry running, and it gets a couple of yards. So second down coming up, 1:03 on the clock. Certainly a possibility for the RedBlacks to at least get the ball back.
Timeout, Ottawa.
And there was a time in the 3rd quarter of this game when we were wondering how soon is Chad Kelly going to be out of this game. We didn't think the answer would be he's not.
those early fourth quarter touchdowns when the Argos were still up big, where we thought Kelly might be out, but after they scored, he stayed in. Liramai now, as it stands, this is a big 2nd and 9. Not so much even to get the first down, but a little closer for Hairolau, because he can kick another field goal, of course, make it a 2-score game again. What would then be under a minute to go. Long field goal try now. It's back with Carey, who gets a couple more yards. It's still going to be about a 48-yard try, 48-49 for Liram Hairolau. A few weeks ago against Montreal, set the franchise record for field goals in a game. He had 8 against the Alouettes in that Argo victory.
Well, Hairolau, 19 of 23 on the season from 40-plus yards.
Oh, that's what happens on the field goal.
He has been terrific for the Argos, coming back after 5 years away from the CFL.
Punt team out with John Haggerty. Ottawa making sure the field is covered with 2 deep returners.
So Haggerty comes on. Instead of running the risk if there's a missed field goal of having that return. So as you say, 2 returners back, and Haggerty now heading off to the Argos sideline to talk things over.
Please reset the game clock to 39 seconds. 39 seconds.
Argos running as much time off that clock as they could.
Again, though, this is a scenario a half hour ago they couldn't have imagined being in, having to properly execute a strategy to finally clinch this game in home field next 2 weeks' time. Soft kick, pin him deep. Braylon Addison with it. 30 seconds on the clock. The RedBlacks need a touchdown.
Well, good punt and cover. And again, good execution from the RedBlacks perspective, getting the 2 returners out there. Basically limiting the opportunity for Haggerty to get that ball on the ground and have it roll.
Keeps it away from Templeton that time, and Addison takes it, gets it out to the 12. So, yeah, it'll take a miracle. I'll tell you what, not as big a miracle as it would have taken, I think, about a half hour ago when they were down by, at one point, 32 points. Who would have thought they'd ever get to the point where they'd even be within a play, having a chance? Brown, caught, and down is Hardy. So they get it up to the 35, 24 seconds left.
Okay, good, efficient play for Ottawa in terms of the yardage they gain relative to the time being used. If they can get another chunk like that.
Brown runs out of time, and down he goes. A timely sack for Derek Parrish, the first-year Argo.
Yeah, Parrish in that defensive end rotation. Got some starts. He's on the left side of your screen. Got a chunk of playing time earlier in the season when Arimulade was down. Play that's costly in terms of both time and yardage for Ottawa.
This could be it. 2nd and 21, but 7 seconds to go. Leyburn does go down with 2 seconds on the clock, so time for one more play, and they need a touchdown.
Yeah, you just think about the cost of that sack, where had they not gotten sacked, even if they throw the ball out of bounds, whatever, you at least get yourself close enough where you're taking a Hail Mary shot at the end zone. Now you can't reach the end zone. Parrish sack proving huge.
The Argos made it look so easy for 3 quarters. And then took their foot off the gas. Ottawa came back and made it a one-score game, but this is the last play. Touchdown or bust for the RedBlacks. It's caught midfield. Hardy looking to lateral. He does. Acklin and back to Hardy. The play's still going on. Laboring with it now, and he gets rid of it, and finally it falls to the turf. Darius Bladick, the last one to touch it for Ottawa. Toronto ball. Well, not as easy as it looked like it was going to be for the Argos, but they do get the win. They get home field in 2 weeks' time, but in that one, when the RedBlacks and Argos meet again, it's win or go home. The sudden death. Ottawa, Toronto, November 2nd, Eastern semifinal on CTV, and the standings right now in the East. Ottawa is third place. Toronto secures second place in the East.
Yeah, the Eastern playoff picture etched in stone, but not without a little bit of drama here from the Ottawa RedBlacks, and we hope we get as much excitement.
Let's go down to Matthew Shinetti now with Wynton McManus.
Wynton, I know you well enough to know that as happy as this team might be now to host the East semifinal, what kind of lessons do you want to take away from that fourth quarter?
Man, that's not the way we want to finish the game. That's not how we play ball, man. That's not how we attack. That's not how we tackle. Man, we got to be way better than that if we want to win.
But I imagine you look at that Parrish sack is to know that we talked about this pregame. When it's somebody's time to execute, someone's got to step up.
Yeah, you know, it's a team effort. So, you know, all across the board, we just preach rushing together and covering together. And, you know, so when you see sacks like that, it comes in together. Oh, man, that's not the way we do defense.
We'll see you in 2 weeks for a big East semifinal.
Thank you, man. See you there.
Rod?
Oh, Matthew. Hey, Dwayne, Ottawa at least give them something to think about for 2 weeks' time?
Well, that's the mission that they had going into the fourth quarter. I think mission accomplished. They didn't start the game the way they wanted, but they sure finished strong.
They did, and the Ottawa RedBlacks have lost 5 games in a row, but at least salvaged something in this game that had just gotten so far out of hand. So yes, third place for the RedBlacks, but anticipating their first playoff game since 2018. They already knew it was against the Argos, and now they know they are coming back here to BMO Field. The winner will go to Montreal for the East Final. Ottawa's hoping that maybe it showed enough that they can do something here in Toronto's home 2 weeks from now. Thanks for watching the CFL.